Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's live edition of Renegade Recap, exclusively here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I greatly appreciate you guys tuning in for my first solo effort on this show. As you guys saw earlier in the week, Jeff is taking a step back until SummerSlam weekend, try and get himself mentally, physically, and emotionally back together. We wish him the best here at the Casa D18 Studios channel. We're sorry that he's not going to be able to join us today or on any of our upcoming episodes here in the next month and a half, 2 months. But you got to do what you got to do to get better for yourself. Anyways, thank you, like I said, for joining me here today. We're going to take a look, as we always do, at a little bit of a recap of what we've been doing the last month here on the Casa D18 Studios channel and Renegade's Reviews, which, of course, if you guys have been tuning in, has been the Walt Disney Animation Studios Filmography, the Snow White lineage, as we like to call it, from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, all the way up to the most recent film, Raya the Last Dragon. We're only covering up until 1990, though, this month and this year, as there's so much material in the Walt Disney Animation Studios Filmography that we had to chop it up. So we started with Snow White, and then we're going to end on we're going to end on the 31st. No, the 30th. This is why having a co-host helps. We're going to end on the 30th of this month with a film that was released November of 1990, and that's The Rescuers Down Under. So just a lot of stuff that we've done here in the last month or so. We've had 608 views on the videos that have gone up just so far this month, with still 4 more episodes to go. You know, we've got Oliver and Company tomorrow, Little Mermaid, DuckTales the movie, The Treasure of the Lost Lamp, and Rescuers Down Under. So 4 more episodes that are going to go live. Today's episode, The Great Mouse Detective, we premiered a little bit earlier today than normal. We threw it up there at 2 o'clock so that at 3 o'clock we could be here live doing this. So that one, as of yet, has no views on it, but still, 5 episodes to get views on. 608 views this month so far. It's pretty good for a month of my shows, if we're being honest. My reviews usually tend to stay in about the 10 to 20 view range. But this month we've gotten quite a few that were in the 30 and above range. The top 5 episodes this month were Alice in Wonderland with 34 views, Pinocchio with 41 views, Dumbo coming in at 60, Lady and the Tramp with 63, and the most watched episode so far this month shouldn't be a surprise, as it was the first one for the month, so it's had the longest to accumulate views, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs with 65 views so far. Like I said, that's just mind-boggling for me, considering what a slow start the Renegade Reviews relaunch kind of got off to. So to see that I'm getting episodes in the 30s and the 40s of views is just insane to me at this point in time. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming up here in the future. As you've probably seen the last couple of days on my episodes, the trailer at the end, we're going to run here in just a couple minutes. You've seen what's coming next month. Marvel movies. August, I had a lineup for August, but I'm going to try and revamp it a little bit. August is going to be kind of a hodgepodge, as August is my birth month. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to kind of try and do some of my all-time favorite movies in August. That way I feel that you guys out there, my fans, my viewers, will learn a little bit more about me in the process by seeing the films that I really love and adore. And could be any genre. You know, I know for a fact we're going to take a look at least one or two of the Beatles films. We're going to take a look at some James Cagney, which my dad had heavy influence with me on those. We're going to take a look at some of the Jay and Silent Bob movies, I believe, some other superhero films. Tombstone, obviously, my favorite movie of all time, will be featured in there. So we're going to have to just kind of see what comes up when I decide to go through and really iron out the list of what's going to be for August. October, of course, is going to be classic horror movies. Nothing from 1970 and beyond. Everything is going to be pre-1970. Really going to be focusing on the classic horror, the Universal monsters, and some of the films from the silent film era, and all the way up to, I believe, the last film that I have booked for October is going to be Night of the Living Dead from 1968. So just all of that early classic horror cinema will be featured in October. And then, of course, December will be Christmas films. Still got to iron out which ones, as I have an extensive Christmas movie collection, not to mention whatever may be on the streaming sites. So we've got quite a bit of stuff coming here in the future. But as I touched on, next month is going to be Marvel. We're going to get knee-deep in the MCU, and we're going to view every film from the MCU that exists, including the brand new Black Widow film that's going to be released, I believe July 9th is its release date, but it'll be covered during the point in the MCU timeline when it would occur. The MCU I'm doing chronologically, not by release date, but by the actual timeline of events. So the first film will be Captain America, the first Avenger, and then Captain Marvel, and then so on and so forth. A very controversial decision. I'm including Eric Bana's 2003 Hulk movie within the confines of the MCU timeline. I personally feel that there's enough of a story connection between the Eric Bana version and the Ed Norton version, which is officially a part of the MCU. I feel like there's enough story connection between the two films that if I'm going to cover the timeline, then I should throw that one in there as part of the timeline. And I'll get more in depth into my reasoning when I cover that film during the month of July. Taking a look at the MCU films, there's enough films where there's still 6 open dates during the month of July, so I decided to bookend the MCU with some other Marvel films. That way we can start the MCU on the 4th of July with Captain America, the First Avenger. I kind of figured it was a nice, patriotic film to have featured on the 4th of July and a great place to kind of jump off and start. So that's going to be what's coming up. Let's go ahead and without any further ado, let's take a look at next month's trailer for the Marvel films. So there you go. So look at what's to be coming next month as we cover the Marvel films right here on Renegade's Reviews. Like I said, we're going to have the entire MCU in play. We're going to start with the Blade trilogy, which arguably, and I'll get more in depth into this when I discuss the original Blade, but arguably without the success of 1998's Blade, there would have been no X-Men franchise, no Spider-Man franchise, and no MCU as we know it, bar none. So I couldn't think of a better way to open it up than with the Blade trilogy. Then we go through the entire extent of the MCU, all the way up to Spider-Man Far From Home. And then we round out the month with 3 of the less desirable Marvel movies in Daredevil, Elektra, and Howard the Duck. And you kind of just have to go into those 3 with the mindset of it is what it is, Howard the Duck, I feel that if they did a movie about Howard this day and age with the way he's kind of been featured in small roles in the 2 Guardians films, maybe a film about him would be a little bit better received. Daredevil and Elektra, of course, The Netflix series did wonders for them and bringing them back to prominence after those failed movies. I personally still don't feel the Ben Affleck Daredevil is near as bad as people give it credit for. And again, I'll get more in depth into that when I watch it and review it. Elektra, okay, I can give you Elektra. And Howard the Duck, honestly, it's been years. Let me reiterate, years since I've seen Howard the Duck. So I really am looking forward to going in and revisiting it again at almost 45 years old, when I don't think I've seen it since I was a kid and it first came out. And it was kind of cool to like Howard the Duck at that point because it was a brand new movie and you didn't have all the other stuff out there to really compare it to. And now in contrast, yeah, it's kind of bad, but I'm really looking forward to going back and viewing that again. I'm about to get to the movie mail segment here. Open up my packages of new arrivals, we'll say, not new releases, but new arrivals to my collection. I can see that I've only got one person watching right now, which kind of is a bummer to me. But to whoever you are out there that's watching, if you've got some questions, feel free to submit them to me right now while I get the movie mail ready to open up. Take a quick second here. We're going to throw to the Renegade Recap banner here for just a second while I grab the movies, the packages, if you will. There we go. We got these three right here, and then we've got a decent sized box here to open of movie mail. Like I said, new additions to the collection. Let's see what we got here, shall we? It's always just more of a question of what's in what package, because I vaguely remembered what I ordered for this month. It's just a matter of what package is it going to be in, you know? All right. So the first package, we've got Nick Cage, Gone in 60 Seconds. We've got Will Ferrell, Anchorman. We've got Stat Boy's favorite, The Green Mile. Let's see what we got here in the next one, shall we? We've got the original American Pie. We've got a double feature of Assault on Precinct 13 and Alpha Dog. We've got American Wedding. And we've got the classic 8 Mile. Some more good ones there. Ah, yes. This package is definitely going to get some likes from my dad if he sees this. But we've got James Cagney in White Heat, along with James Cagney in The Public Enemy. Michael Gonzalez says, have you seen any of the Marvel shows And do you have any expectations for the new Blade movie? Michael, yes, I have seen most all of the Marvel shows. I've seen all the ones that aired on Netflix that were part of the Defenders saga. I've seen all the episodes of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Punisher. I've seen the Defenders season, obviously. I've seen some of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know why, but every time I start trying to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I can get through it to a degree, and then I just lose interest in the series. I don't know. I've always kind of had an issue with the fact that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. acknowledges the greater MCU, but the greater MCU never acknowledged Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, as a matter of fact, in Avengers Endgame, when they were doing Tony's funeral scene, I always thought that Agent Coulson should have popped up there next to Nick Fury at the very end. Because we all know that with Tony's technology and his expertise and everything, Tony would have known that Coulson was still alive. And whether he kept that hidden from the rest of the team or not, I think that Coulson popping up there at the end would have been a nice touch. Likewise, I also think that the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should have been part of the big battle against Thanos. And yeah, I know a lot of the criticism is that the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are street-level heroes. But I mean, those portals opened, and virtually everybody that had been in the MCU showed up. Even Howard the Duck was on the front lines to fight Thanos. And you're telling me that the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know, Quake, Ghost Rider, and even some of the Netflix characters couldn't have popped through one of those portholes just for a brief, oh shit, blink and you miss it cameo? Come on. Would you like to see the Netflix characters be introduced into the MCU with the same actors? Yes. 100%. Charlie Cox, I think, did a great job as Daredevil. Matt Murdock, I think Kristen Ritter was great as Jessica Jones. Mike Coulter was phenomenal as Luke Cage. Forgive me, I forget the guy's name that played Iron Fist. I want to say it's Finn Jones. He was definitely the weakest, but it was more so a writing issue than an acting issue, in my personal opinion. So I would like to see him make the transition into the MCU where the writing is a lot better. John Bernthal, the Punisher, yes, absolutely. Ving Rhames, or no, not, excuse me, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, yes, please. Eldon Henson as Foggy, hell yes. You know, you can see my Fulton Reed jersey hanging up in the background. I'm a huge fan of Eldon Henson. So, yeah, I definitely would like to see them come through as the same actors. You know, otherwise, I think it would be for naught. You know, they did such a good job establishing those characters. I think it would be silly to recast them now. The last package that I have to go through for Movie Mill, and Michael, since you seem to be the only one here, if you've got any other questions, by all means, feel free to throw them up. But the last package to go through that I opened while I was answering those contained A Knight's Tale, Yankee Doodle Dandy, which is mandatory 4th of July viewing around my house, along with Independence Day, Armageddon, Friday the 13th, the original Friday the 13th Part 2, and the last one is Mr. Roberts. Who would I like to see be the next big villain in the MCU? I know they've been done before, but I'd like to see Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, or Doctor Doom be the next major villain, because I feel like with the proper slow build to those, they can be more monumental than they were in their other incarnations. Willem Dafoe's Goblin was awesome. But I think if we have a little bit more of a slow build, since, and for the record, I haven't seen Spider-Man Far From Home yet, but I don't believe Oscorp has come into play yet. And when they moved in Spider-Man Homecoming out of Stark Tower, the old Avengers Tower, I always had the thought process that the tower would have either been bought by Oscorp or would be turned into the Baxter Building for Fantastic Four. And like I said, I think just with the proper introduction of Oscorp, maybe you don't even see Norman Osborn except for like a TV blip, almost like an advertising campaign or an interview being conducted on a TV in the background. And then you slowly build his ascension. And then you bring him in as a full-fledged character with not necessarily a main role in a film, but a secondary role. Just a little bit of a background character, but you actually see him in a more human form as opposed to just like a blip on the TV or a print ad or something. Then you get his descension into madness and becoming the Green Goblin. I think it would be a great way to do Norman Osborn. And the same with Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom would be awesome to see done right. I think that there's a couple of good actors out there that I think could be a great Doctor Doom. I don't want to be put on the spot right now. I'm kind of blanking on names, but I know that there have been a few people that I've seen and I've been like, that would be a good Doctor Doom. So I just feel that like with the right story, though, they could make Doctor Doom, again, if you do a slow build to him, like I proposed with Osborn, like we did with Thanos. Thanos started as a mid-credit scene in the Avengers, a turn of the head and a smirk. Then we got a little bit of him in Guardians. Then we got a little bit more of him in Avengers Age of Ultron. And then we finally got him in Infinity War. I think that the right slow build to some of these more well-known villains would be amazing. Just don't make Galactus a cloud, then we're good. Yeah, exactly. Another one that I'd like to see get a chance to be done inside the confines of the MCU. And again, no disrespect to the men that have played him in the past. Magneto. We've already got Wanda. We've got the Scarlet Witch. We have his daughter in some of the incarnations of the comics. Bring Magneto in. Again, slow build him. The problem with a lot of the Marvel villains is they hotshot them so that they can be these one-shot villains. And unfortunately, then we kill off these villains and we can't resurrect them. I mean, I know they're comic book movies and comic characters are always being resurrected, but it just becomes so hard to resurrect some of these guys the way that they have their finality. Look what happened in real life with the whole Chadwick Boseman situation, how we lost him a couple years ago. Killmonger's dead. Killmonger would have been a great person to bring in to be a new Black Panther. They could have reprogrammed him kind of like how they did with Bucky. They deprogrammed him from all of his Hydra training. They could reprogram Killmonger to be a force of good. But Killmonger had a pretty final, ending to him. So to try to resurrect him be kind of difficult. I liked Ultron, but I felt like he should have been more than just one film. I agree. And especially the fact that Ultron was pretty prophetic when he said that Wanda was going to be the one to tear them apart from the inside. And then we fast forward to a year later, and we're having Captain America Civil War. And the Avengers are at each other's throats because of something that Wanda did. Honestly, with the exception of Thanos, I feel Loki's the only villain they've done right. He came back for all the Thor movies. He appeared in Avengers. He appeared in Endgame. He appeared in Infinity War. He's got his own Disney Plus series now, which I haven't seen any of those episodes yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting into them as soon as I have a chance. I've just been trying to get so far ahead in this stuff that I haven't had the opportunity to really sit down and engage in that like I want to. But honestly, Thanos and Loki, I feel, are the only two villains that have been done properly at this point in time. The Red Skull, he got to come back, with the whole search for the Infinity Stones. But other than the Red Skull, everybody else has, kind of been one and dones. And it's sad because there have been some really good villains along the way. I'm very interested in seeing the Black Widow film and seeing how it's going to fit into the timeline of everything. But Michael Keaton's Vulture, I thought was really good, and I look forward to possibly seeing him down the road pop up again. Least favorite villain was Whiplash and Iron Man 2. Now, see, I'm going to disagree with you there, and I'm going to tell you why. Whiplash fell victim to editing. Mickey Rourke has stated on numerous occasions that there was a ton of footage that was really, really good stuff that he did as Whiplash that never made the final cut of the movie. So I honestly feel that Whiplash was somebody that fell victim to editing. I liked Mickey Rourke as Whiplash, and with what they presented of him, I thought it was decent, but I definitely feel like there was room for improvement. Got to try and think here. My least favorite villain right now, I'm going to have to get back to you guys on that one because I'd have to have a list in front of me of the villains to really start to run through them because it's been a minute for me on some of them. Honestly, I thought Hela was kind of weak in Thor Ragnarok. Justin Hammer was my least favorite. Yeah, see, Hammer could have been so much better too. They needed somebody that was going to be a rival to Stark, and Hammer had the potential. No. The Mandarin, the fake Mandarin, Ben Kingsley. Come on. He was by and large worse than Whiplash. By and large. And especially at the end of the day, when you found out that he was just a puppet after being built up the whole movie like he was going to be this big bad evil. And then you find out that he's just an actor. Like, psych, just kidding. I thought that was pretty bad. Throw that ticker back up there. It's been down for a minute. What else? Any other questions that you guys have for me? Tim, Michael, I appreciate you guys being here and throwing some questions my way for this portion. I don't usually get too many Q&As as part of the show. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for participating with me on this. Let me ask you guys a question. Since I'm sure you two are some of my regular viewers that tune in on a daily, out of the movies I've covered this month for the Disney films, what has been your favorite? What movie that I covered this month was your favorite to watch me cover? Michael and Tim, let me know. Most anticipated upcoming MCU movie. I would have to say for me, it's going to be the third Spider-Man movie, because there's still all this speculation about Tobey and Andrew, and are they going to be in the third Spider-Man movie? Both have downplayed it. Both have totally no-sold it, like they're not going to be in it. But I feel like they may be doing that just to make that oh shit moment that much greater when they do show up in the film. You know, it may have been part of a contract they signed that they couldn't disclose any of the information about their involvement. You know, kind of be the same type of feeling as when we finally saw Cap wield Mjolnir. And everyone's like, man, I knew he could do it all along, but holy shit, he's doing it. I think it's going to be the same thing with Tobey and Andrew in Spider-Man 3. I think they're going to show up in it, but they're just downplaying the hell out of it so that it'll be that much more special when they pop up on screen. So that's probably my most anticipated one. Michael says The Jungle Book. Okay. That's a fair one. Definitely one of the ones I had the most fun covering. Tomorrow's Review, Oliver and Company, is another one that I had a lot of fun covering. So make sure you guys tune into that one. What MCU Disney Plus show am I looking most forward to? What else is there right now aside from Low-Key? Other than Loki, I think the only other one coming is the Hawkeye show, I believe. And since I haven't seen Loki yet, I'd say that I'm most looking forward to that one. But if I'm correct, and Hawkeye is coming as well, then I'm also looking forward to that one, because I want to see if either in that or in the Black Widow movie, if we ever find out what happened in Budapest. You know, it was such a throwaway line, but I think it would be great to have like a flashback episode of the series and see what actually happened in that Budapest mission. She-Hulk is coming. Okay, Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Armor Wars, and Secret Invasion. Okay. For the record, I'm not a big comic book guy. I don't have extensive knowledge of the comic books, so I know little to nothing about Moon Knight, Armor Wars, or Secret Invasion. So I'm going to throw those out right there. Other than Hawkeye, I'd probably say I'm most looking forward to She-Hulk, because I know that God, I'm blanking on his name now. I know that Mark Ruffalo, thank you. I know Mark Ruffalo is supposed to be popping up in She-Hulk, as well as Abomination, Tim Roth. So the fact that those guys are coming back, and I'm sure General Ross will be back too in She-Hulk, I'm looking forward to them tapping a little bit more into the Hulk mythos, which has largely been ignored since the Ed Norton film, because they have the rights to use Hulk in the team-up movies, but not really to do anything on his own. So that's why, aside from the Ed Norton film, we haven't really gotten too much Hulk stuff, and why he's only really been in the Avengers, and then he popped up in Ragnarok. So the fact that they're going to be able to tie him into this, I'm looking forward to seeing some more stuff from the Hulk mythos. Armor Wars is one with War Machine as the main character. That could be interesting then. I like the character of War Machine. I like Don Cheadle's take as Rhodey. Truth be told, I didn't mind Terrence Howard's take as Rhodey, but I understand why he got written out, and why they changed actors with everything that came up with him there during Iron Man and Iron Man 2. But I definitely think Don Cheadle is better than Terrence Howard was. I just didn't mind Terrence Howard. I think that's going to just about wrap it up for me today. Michael, Tim, thank you for tuning in and watching with me. As I've said on my episodes, if you guys enjoy my content, shoot me a little donation there at that PayPal link. You guys know I'm not monetized right now, so the only way I can bring in a few bucks is if you guys send me a donation. Or if you'd rather, instead of sending me a donation, go to the link tree, purchase a movie off my Amazon movie wish list. I've been updating my wish list there, adding movies to it. When it comes and I open it on Renegade Recap like I did these movies today, I'll give you guys a shout out. And then when I work it into one of my theme months and get to cover and review the movie, I'll give you guys another shout out and give you guys the thanks and the credit that you deserve for helping to support me. So once again, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Tim, for tuning in with me. I greatly appreciate you guys watching. And until next month's Renegade Recap, I am the Renegade JJ Williams. I will see you guys next time.